Ready, start. Already, a quarter of our population lives in urban India. The proportion will rise to one third by the turn of the century and cross the halfway mark within a few decades thereafter. This major demographic trend needs not only to be recognized but also encouraged. What has gone wrong with our pattern of urbanization is not that there is too fast and furious a flood of people into towns and cities as that the pattern of urbanization is unbalanced. It is the larger metropolitan cities that are attracting the bulk of those coming in from the rural area. This severely strains the resources of the larger cities without conferring any real benefit on the rural areas from where the new entrants have come. What we need is a rational pattern of urbanization. We need to see small and large towns growing in every district, drawing the bulk of their population from the surrounding rural hinterland. That way, the talent and enterprise of the people will remain to a large extent within the district. Urbanization will be related to rural requirements. Urban settlement will cease to be isolated compartments. It is the compartmentalization of India into rigidly separated rural and urban settlements that has been the worst legacy of the colonial system of local self government. When 107 years ago the British introduced their system of urban local self government, the urban settlements of India had a very different role to play to the one we now envisage for them. The colonial government of the time saw the urban settlements of India as enclaves where they could hide themselves away comfortably from the surrounding reality. They assumed that drains and drinking water, a street lighting and a street cleaning were needed only for themselves and their dependent. It was assumed that civic amenities are not for rural India. 5 decades into independence. The reality has changed, but the shell remains much the same. The law makes it obligatory to provide civic amenities for all recognized urban settlements. But the strained resources of the urban local bodies make it almost impossible for them to meet urbanization. It is also these settlements that will progressively and in phases serve as the focal point for industrial growth centers. Thus, we bring together the recommendations of the National Commission on Urbanization and our scheme of growth centers. Secondly, in the colonial system of municipal administration, there was no place for development planning and no role for development activities. When Panditji introduced Panchayati Raj to fill the rural vacuum left by the colonial legacy, he envisaged the institutions of Panchayati Raj as a crucial instrument of development. Although over the years the Panchayati Raj institutions have decayed, they have remained in concept at least a prime instrument of development. In contrast, the municipal bodies have withered but assumed no developmental role. The development of India is not possible without planning for development in our urban settlements as much as in our rural settlements. Indeed, planning at the crucial interface between the rural hinterland and the urban settlement will be the chief centers of accelerated growth. Accordingly, the first chapter of the will be have tabled deals with settlements in transition from rural to urban, as it is such settlement constitute the single largest category of settlements beyond the rural village. The present tendency in most parts of the country is to classify such settlements as urban and take them entirely out of the purview of the rural urban interface. We propose that instead of a growth of non viable urban local bodies at this end of the spectrum, local self government in the Nagar Panchayats partake of the flavor of both rural administration and urban administration. This is emphasized in the very name suggested for those bodies. Nagar Panchayats, that is, the simultaneous recognition of the urban character of such a settlement and its continuing link with the rural countryside. More to the point, the powers and responsibilities developed on Nagar Panchayats draw both from the rural hinterland to activity that can best be undertaken in the transitional settlement. This shall go a long way help the rural area to get benefits of transition. The recognition and encouragement of Nagar Panchayats will draw away from the eye, from the land, the population that the village cannot support while retaining within the locality for the common benefit of the rural hinterland and the urbanizing settlement. The talent and enterprise of those willing to undertake the risk and the adventure of uprooting themselves from their ancestral villages instead of being hollow symbols of a false prestige as the smaller municipalities regrettably are at present. The Nagar Panchayats will become the local point of the dynamics of development. We would hope that in every district, one or some of the Nagar Panchayats will grow into a town worthy of a Nagar Palika. It is by the even a spread of town around the country that we will take the pressure of the metropolises stop.